Hello, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of CFC Talk podcast. And as always, we're joined by the usual hosts, Alex and Amart, alongside myself as we discuss the Man United game and then the Liverpool game after that. Maybe a few yawns in between after looking at another goalless draw and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer getting away with another draw against a top six team, and Thomas Tuchel, as reported by a few journalists inside the bridge, swearing at his players at the end of full time. Um, yeah, us get right into it. But before we do that, make sure to leave a like, rating, subscribe. As you guys know, as we've been mentioning it the last few episodes, we do get a lot of views, and a lot of our new viewers which come in are not subscribing and liking our videos. So make sure you do that. If you're listening on an audio platform, then make sure to add it to your playlist. And yeah, let's get right into it. Alex, welcome to the podcast. How you doing? How's your week been? We were meant to record on Monday, and then we both got busy. How's your week been?
It's been an interesting week. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was more concerned about my interview yesterday or doing this podcast for a nil-nil draw. It was quite, yeah. I mean, interesting game, to be fair. But, I mean, with some good performances from the team, I was quite especially happy to see Chilwell come back into the team and look pretty solid, I think. And he's just a fresher breath air from Alonso. So, yeah, it was nice to see him back. But there were also some other good performances all round. But at the end of the day, we have this one big issue at Chelsea at the moment, and it's combination of I've just done a knack and fen where I've said, we have one thing, and then it's actually two things. But it's creating good chances and just being able to finish. I mean, Ziyech had the good chance, I think, at the start of the second half where Joe put a good cross in and he tested the hair, but not enough. But yeah, we're just not that threatening in attack at the moment, and I'm quite worried about the Liverpool game as a result, but looking forward to it still.
Yeah, hopefully it's not another goalless draw, or else Chelsea fans will not be very happy. Amart, how's your week been? Chelsea, another draw.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a good week so far, but it started with the Chelsea draw, so it didn't start too good. I mean, that game was very, very disappointing. We could have.
I love the wording there. It's been a good week, but it started with a Chelsea draw.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it was a disappointing draw, very, very disappointing draw, because I felt like we were better on the day, especially in the second half. The first half, I think both teams were very, very sloppy in their passes, where both were losing possession quite easily. But the second half, I think we were far better than them. We were threatening their goalposts more than they were. But again, our issues have always been taking chances or scoring our chances, and it was very, very clear in the game that we weren't doing that. We were getting so many chances in there when we didn't put even one away. But I mean, I felt like we could win. We could win. We had the upper hand. We could easily win that game, but in the end, we couldn't really do anything with our chances, and we came up with that draw, which was very disappointing, considering the fact that West Ham lost and then Leicester also lost. So we had a chance to close the gap between us and Man United to 3 points, but we didn't, and we just went away with that draw, which was, to be honest, it felt like a loss. We drew, but it felt like a loss because they were there for the taking, and we didn't take advantage of the situation.
Yeah, and I think most of that advantage is not coming from the final third. I think we discussed this a few podcasts ago as well, how Chelsea are so dominant in defense and in the midfield. Even though I think with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Tuchel, it was kind of just like a tactical battle between them in the midfield. And if I'm not wrong, then most of the time the ball was in the midfield area, either in Man United's half or Chelsea's half. But Alex, it's always that pass from the midfield to the final third, and then we just somehow screw it up with maybe doing too much or at times doing too little. Is there a solution that we just keep hearing at the moment from Tuchel that, yeah, we're working on it? How long before maybe at the moment, yes, you can see Tuchel's unbeaten, but then what's the point of being unbeaten if we're not closing the gap again, as we weren't able to do against Man United?
Well, I'll say firstly that, I mean, attacking wise, I'm really not sure why if Tuchel anticipated Man United to be to be at us, and we needed some pace. And hence picking Chilwell. Why he didn't pick Timo Werner instead of Giroud, I'm really not sure. Because Man United pressed us really highly, particularly in the first half. And having Werner on the end to kind of run in behind of them would have been really helpful. So I think he only got introduced. He got introduced quite late on into the game, I think. So that kind of contributed to not really being able to do much. Giroud up against their centre backs. Couldn't really. I mean, Giroud was all right. He didn't play that great, I thought. But yeah, in terms of getting the final ball, I think a lot of it. I mean, we need Kai Havertz back in the team. You saw how against Man City, I think it was a good ball from Chohan who put through Havertz, and then Havertz put a really good cross in for Cho to then score. So yeah, we just need more of that. We need Havertz to start, I think. And Ziyech has not been really playing that well at all recently, especially in the first half. Nothing was happening for him. But I mean, he's just not been putting. Ziyech's not been really at it. He's not putting in those balls that we saw in, I think the first game that he played, the kind of preseason game against Brighton. He was doing it then, but we just don't see enough of his far post crosses. But I guess there weren't really in that many runs for him to work off. So a lot of it is movement, I think, as well. We need to move, but then also we need Kai Havertz back in the team to kind of give us some more intelligence in attack. But at the same time, you could say that if we play Havertz, then we can't have Ziyech, we can't have a right winger. So I guess it's kind of attributed to the three at the back that we play at the moment, and how we sacrifice essentially another attacking midfielder to get this defensive solidity. And we're not gonna become more solid. We're not going to become better in attack, I think, in the current system. But I don't know if it's the right idea to change it necessarily. But Kai Havertz definitely needs to be getting back into the team to improve our creativity at least and finishing.
Mark, a lot of the debate that's been happening on social media is that the fact that when Chelsea do line up and when they walk on the field, we've essentially got almost 7 to 8 defensive players, especially when we line up with Kovacic and Kovacic and Jorginho, and we've only got 3 attacking players, 3 players who can really create those chances, which can trouble the opposition and convert those troubles or those chances into goals. Is it the system's fault where we've essentially become so good defensively, but when it comes to attacking and scoring, we struggle?
Amart, are you there?
Sorry. I muted myself on the headset. Yeah, I think the defensive nature of our team is a result of last season. The way we leaked so many goals at the back, we were kind of a little bit good up top, I think, last season than this season. And then, but we were leaking so many goals at the back. So I think the main priority during the summer was to fix the defensive issues. And then now we fixed it to a point that now our attack is also lacking. So I think the next point now is to check the attack and get players in that can actually bury chances and to create chances. I think we have them. We have those players, but I think they are not yet delivering at the level that we all expected that they'll deliver yet. So I think probably next season we might see them live up to the level that we've all expected. But with the defensive nature of the team, I think for the United game, I think it was a bit necessary because they are very good on the counter. So once they are good on the counter, we need defensive players in the middle like Kante and Kovacic. I don't think Jorginho would have probably handled. I don't even think they had that many counter attacks, but I don't think Jorginho would have handled Bruno Fernandes as well as Kante did. He actually pocketed the guy and he couldn't do anything the whole game. I even think Bruno Fernandes isn't really a big game player, especially in the Premier League. He hasn't really done anything to threaten any big team this season. He's been excellent for them, although, but I think with the teams out of the top 6, he hasn't really, like the traditional top 6 teams in England, he hasn't really done anything to threaten any of those sides. But I mean, it was the defensive nature was good, and we still had chances. Like with this and other games that we've played, it's not that we don't have chances. We still create chances, but we are not burying them. That's the issue. The defense. I don't know that you guys have seen that meme about. I think the car meme that shows like a defense. The defensive part is the Ferrari. The middle is like a Toyota Corolla, and then the
Oh, I know. Yeah.
yeah, you've seen
Yeah.
that thing. Yeah, that's how it looks now. Like it looks opposite right now. Because last season it was the opposite. Like the front was rather better than the back, but now the back is way better than the front, and it's crazy. We technically we should be scoring a lot of goals with players like Ziyech, Werner, Havertz, Mount, Giroud, Tammy. We should be scoring a lot of goals in games. We should be burying games. We should be killing games by 4 or 5 goals, but it's not happening like that. It's like we are more concerned in defending or maintaining a 1-0 lead or something than going in and scoring. I think that's what affected us. And even the second half, it getting to the end of the game, it looked like the players were settling for a draw, and that even annoyed me even more because you could realize that they weren't even pressing anymore. They were rather maintaining possession, and both teams were doing the same thing that happened in the first leg. And I don't know. I think things have to change, and I think the way things will change is if we get a player like we discussed last week. If we get a player that can actually score goals, somebody who is hungry for goals, like a Haaland or a Lukaku, those kind of players can actually open the midfield. So the chances that come through, we can bury them and then get more goals up top.
I think we've seen people use stats to analyze players, and then there's people who use arrows and descriptions and drawings to show off players. And then you've got Amart who uses memes, but that's the best part about CFC. No. I agree with you. I mean, who would have thought at the start of the season, if you would have told me at the start of the season, players like Rudiger, Christensen, and Aspi in a back three would be keeping clean sheets, while players like Ziyech, Kai Havertz, Timo Werner would be on the bench, and even if they did come on, they wouldn't have a good performance. I'd look at you and say you have zero knowledge of football, and I guess it's very surprising, and I think it's a mixture of both of the things. And as Alex said, against Man United specifically, Werner should have started, and I think the fact that Giroud started gave them the opportunity to have a high line. They know Giroud won't be able to run as fast as Werner, maybe not find the spaces. Because Giroud, in my opinion, is more of a box-to-box striker. He'll stand in the box, wait for a cross to come in and attack that, wait for a pass to come in and attack that. Werner is someone who will run down the flank, maybe dodge a few players and then try and score. And I think that was one mistake that Tuchel made there, as well as the fact that, again, we're putting out 7 defensive players, including a goalkeeper, so 8 defensive players out there. So we're going to have a bit of lack of creativity. So I think as much as under Lampard I said we should try the 3 at the back, I feel like this is not going to work long term unless we're happy with the draws every game or a very one-sided game. Next point on the list, again, going back to the defense, because Christensen, who under Tuchel has had a transformation, Amart, is he part of your first team now? Is he someone who you might see starting for Chelsea next season as well?
Yeah, the way he's performing now, it's hard for anyone to keep him out of any form of starting 11, like any form of variation or any starting 11. Like he has to be there because his performances have been really good. I mean, I've always liked Christensen. I've always liked the way he defends, but there were some mistakes that he made this season early on, and I was like, nah, I don't think he needs to be playing anymore. But it's like he's found um, um, like some new form under Tuchel. Whether he probably is because he wants to prove himself, which is also good because if he has been kept out so long, that he wants to prove himself and justify his inclusion. So yeah, he's been very very good. I think right now the games that he has played in the absence of Thiago Silva, he's been excellent in almost all. Like he hasn't really put any foot wrong yet, and I hope he continues in the future. As long it will be difficult to even see him continue to start if Thiago Silva comes back. But I mean, he has justified himself. Like he's proved that he has to be in the starting 11. So, and Thiago Silva can play every game. So it's good to know that at least somebody can act as a number 2 for him if he's not available.
Yeah, I think Amart just brought me into the second point. Alex, Thiago Silva, he's been rolled out, but Christensen has taken responsibility in a way. Clean sheets. I think it's 3 in a row now, or 2 in a row, something like that. And the only issue that I see within the next few weeks is if Thiago Silva comes back, how do we fit in Thiago Silva and Christensen in that defense? We know Christensen isn't the best at right centre back or left centre back. So does that mean Rudiger leaves the team, or does that mean Aspi leaves and Thiago might start at right centre back because of his experience?
Yeah, it's a really tricky decision because I'm not sure if we can. I don't know how Thiago Silva playing at right centre back. He's quite. I mean, I don't think he's the quickest centre back in the world, so I'd be a bit unsure of playing Thiago Silva in the right centre back. But Christensen also has proved that he's really strong at the centre of the 3. So I genuinely do not know. I'm sorry. I genuinely. I mean, if one of them has to go, it's probably going to be Aspi because I mean Rudiger. We didn't talk about this in talking points, but you see that run that Rudiger made in the first half, I think.
Yeah.
Where he ran like about half the pitch in about 6 seconds with the ball, and it's not the most popular thing to say because Rudiger's. I mean, Aspi's also been really good, so it's just a toss up between either of them. I would probably feel better about dropping Rudiger, but I don't think that'll happen. So, yeah, perhaps even I really don't know. Christensen at the moment absolutely has to. We can't drop if any of the 3 can't be dropped. It's Christensen. He's just been playing out of his skin at the moment, and he's contributing to. I think it's 2 clean sheets in a row. Atletico and Man United because we conceded against Southampton. But he's just playing amazingly, so we can't really drop him. And yeah, the only I really am not sure as to how we can fit Thiago Silva back into the team unless he's okay at playing on the right of a 3 or on the left of a 3. But I mean, if you played him more left of the 3 and then also had Chilwell, who's a bit more defensively minded, who can kind of make up for Thiago Silva's lack of pace, perhaps that would work quite well. But I can't imagine us playing like Thiago Silva on the left of a 3 and then Alonso, or Thiago Silva on the right of a 3 and then Cho. Would just doesn't. Yeah, would probably.
But does that work with? Would that work with Reece James? Because I think he's a bit more defensive than.
Yeah, perhaps so. Yeah. Perhaps with James, as long as we have if we're going with less offensive wing backs, perhaps it would be all right to kind of make up for his lack of pace. But I genuinely don't know how they can fit Thiago Silva back into the team at the moment because unless he can play that right centre back or left centre back role, fine, which he probably can. He's Thiago Silva at the end of the day, but it's a really tricky one, and whether as to who you play against Liverpool with, I think Thiago Silva's back in training now. It's a really difficult decision. I'm looking forward to our predicted lineups for sure.
Yeah, I think it opens doors to more problem. I think now with the attack not functioning, we were trying out different things with playing Kai Havertz, Hakim Ziyech, and now the fact that we've got a defense which has been solidified in a way where basically all of our defenders are playing well. So now Tuchel's got a bigger headache to deal with. But moving on to Callum Hudson-Odoi, Amart, was that a penalty? Man United crying again? Is it? I feel like every Man United episode we've done has had one of those discussions with penalty. I don't think we've had a penalty discussion other than that.
Yeah, I think before the podcast that we were talking about it, and for me, it's not a penalty. It's not a penalty at all because when you look at the replay, it looks like it hits Callum's hand as well, but it hits Greenwood's hand first before it hits Callum's hand. That's what I saw, and the reaction of the players usually when there's a before VAR usually what the referee uses when he's not close to the action is the reaction of the players. And if you are watching the game, you can tell the reaction of the players that the United players weren't calling for a penalty. They weren't calling for anybody. Anybody can go back and watch the replay and you can see that they weren't calling for a penalty. But the Chelsea players rather were calling for a handball because they saw that it hit Greenwood's hand first. So for me, I don't think it's a penalty at all. I don't know why they were crying, but and Socha was saying that it's 100% a penalty. I don't know what this time he looked at it first, because when we played the first leg and Maguire had Aspi in a chokehold, he said after the game that he has to check it first because he wasn't sure of what happened. But this time he checked it first. So I don't know. I mean, to me, it's not a penalty. Some pundits were comparing that to, I think, the West Brom game that happened earlier where it hit a player's hand. But with that one, it was very, very clear because his hand was in a natural position and he hit it. He kind of hit the ball. He didn't hit any other player first or anything. He hit the ball and it was a penalty. But with this, it's a different issue because it hits Greenwood. I'll agree with them that Callum's hand was in a natural position because it wasn't in a natural position. His hand was out. His hand was far away from his body, but it hit Greenwood's hand first. So if anything, the handball should be given before the penalty. So in my opinion, it wasn't a penalty. They were just crying for nothing. So yeah.
Alex, the comments made after that penalty decision, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said it was a penalty, and then who was it who just came on? Luke Shaw, who came on, and he said the referee was speaking to Harry Maguire, and it was tried to create a controversy, try to put the referee in a position, in a difficult position. What do you think of that?
I'm not sure what you're referring to there.
Yeah, he said something like the referee told Maguire that if he takes that as a penalty, there'll be so much talk about it at the end.
Yeah. It's a very deep thing to. Thing is, it's probably what Maguire's just told them, so it's not like you're saying, "Oh, you said it absolutely." So I'm really not sure what to make of it. Man United said after that Shaw misheard or something, but because you can't really go and accuse the referee of having that attitude. So yeah, I think that's just more of a thing for making sure, or more of an argument for getting referees to be mic'd up in games, because I think it would definitely reduce the stigma around them by having them all mic'd up, so we know exactly what their thought process is. And I mean, it's just so ironic, isn't it? That Ole after the game, he blamed Frank Lampard even. He blamed Frank Lampard and the Chelsea website for making it seem like Man United don't get decisions or something, or gets too many decisions against them or for them. Sorry.
Yeah.
So it's an absolute joke. He's just in absolutely no position to kind of make any kind of argument about referees favouring Man United after the run of. I mean, in all fairness, many of them are legitimate, but there's too many of them, especially against Chelsea. It's like before this game, I think for about 3 or 4 or 5 games consistently against Man United, we've had questionable or wrong decisions. Maguire kicking Batshuayi in the nuts, Maguire wrestling Aspi to the floor. I can't even remember the other ones, but I think there was recently as well, the one with the Chelsea that was posted in the Chelsea website where Maguire throws. I can't remember who it was. What was it, Brighton defender or someone else to the floor, essentially? As they were trying to go for, and it's just, and they've been getting away with it for so long, and to lose it over such a small thing as that, to not recognise their good luck is just so. With these decisions they've been getting, it's just petty, and you don't expect anything worse, but anything better from them, really, because they just don't really. They want all decisions going their way, essentially.
I wouldn't be surprised if Man United. I mean, if Chelsea somehow. I'm lost. I don't know what I was saying. I was trying to make a joke. Like, it just kind of got lost. It went haywire. No, I think we all know the history with Man United, and officials trying to help them out as much as they can. was it 17 penalties last season? I know, yes, Chelsea this season have been getting a lot of penalties, but that's because Timo Werner has been doing a great job. But yeah, I think it's just Man United and their drama. I think as soon as you mention the fact that Maguire hooked onto Aspi and he what was it, the Batshuayi incident as well. If you show him those two replays, he'll probably just sit there and think those were harmless. Yet Odoi's was probably harmful and cost him the 3 points or the 2 points. I think overall it's just a Man United theme to do. Draw or lose, then you cry, and if you win, then you win.
Yeah.
One player that, sorry, go ahead. Were you going to say something?
I was just going to make a reference to a meme again, and there was one that I saw. There was one that I saw with Bruno Fernandes going to the referee, and then there was this caption that it would give me a penalty, please. I need a penalty today. And it was just funny to me. That's all.
I think Alex, should we give Amart the meme manager role?
Yes, I think so. Congratulations, you just got promoted.
Thank you very much. I'll be expecting a pay rise soon then.
Yeah.
You can have the podcast. That's the thing. Every time now I say I just Amart.
Yeah, we're moving on. We're moving on to I think ZX.
Yeah, no. ZX. Well, I mean, we've got players who are playing really well in the team, defensively in midfield areas. Mason Mount one being one of them. Hakim Ziyech, he hasn't had a good time at Chelsea so far, and a lot of people are just speculating why that could be. And a lot of what I'm hearing is that he's still not over the injury, and he's still kind of struggling to make those runs that Ziyech at Ajax would do, make those skill moves and go past players. And I think he's still kind of recovering from that hamstring injury, and he keeps thinking that he might get another one if he does something like that. Amart, any opinions on that? Any opinions in Ziyech and his form in the last few games? And is there a way for him back into the team and in this system specifically?
With Ziyech, I think the injury definitely adds up to his decline in form, but I think mainly the system doesn't fit him. Especially the system Tuchel is using. I think I tweeted about it. The system isn't really helping him because right now against Man United he played behind Giroud with Mount, and even though he was on the right side, he was still playing centrally. But I think his successes with Ajax came from the fact that he was playing closer to the right wing, and I think that is where he needs to be. When Lampard started using him first, his good form under Lampard, he was closer to the right, and he was linking up very, very well with Reece James, sometimes interchanging with him on the right hand side, and it was very, very beautiful to see. But after the injury, he couldn't really get back to that same form. So it looks like he's still either carrying the injury or he just like Pulisic, he doesn't want to go out again. He doesn't want to get injured again, so he's not giving his best. But in the first half of the Chelsea Man United game, he wasn't the best. I think he was our worst player on the pitch in the first half. But in the second half, he was better. So I was very, very surprised and a little bit angry that Tuchel took him off because I felt like he was the one. He was creating a lot of chances for us in the second half. He was playing very, very well in the second half, but it was surprising that he came off instead. But I think it's the system. The system, he doesn't thrive playing right behind the striker. He excels in giving crosses from the wings, cut this kind of like accurate passes from the wings, and then cutting in and taking shots. But he can't do that when he's playing centrally. So it's going to be very difficult for him if we continue playing like this. But I just hope we can make changes very soon. That's why I agree with Alex saying that this 3-back system, although it's been effective, but I don't see it as the way forward. I think we should go back to a 4 and maybe like Tuchel plays with the four. He has played with the four with PSG. He plays with the four most of the times with PSG and even at Dortmund. But I think because of the situation of his the circumstances around his employment, that's why he's playing a three back because he wants to get results because he was brought in to get results that weren't getting under Lampard. So he wants to focus on getting results than playing the nice football that he was playing against PSG and Dortmund. So probably we might not see that this season. Probably next season, if he has more freedom to act, he can do that.
Alex, your thoughts on that, and a bit about Pulisic, who's also been in a struggling kind of form at the moment. Both these players.
Yeah, they're just. I mean, it's part of the reason is probably because Mason Mount is being played as one of the kind of further forward roles. So Pulisic, naturally Pulisic and Ziyech and whoever else is going to play less because Mason Mount has to start. But yeah, I want the back. I don't think Tuchel will change the system in the short term, but I'd like to see by next season us go back to a back four and then have Mount as one of the midfielders so that we actually get some width. Because, I mean, Ziyech, I think, just in a back three, Ziyech also isn't the best because he's naturally quite a wide player. And, he's not really that great through the middle of it, or at least from what we've seen of him. So it's... And at the moment, Hudson-Odoi is kind of more of a wide right forward, or when he's attacking at least. So, I think going back to a back four will probably get more out of Ziyech and playing Mount a bit further back and have another then you have another spot for the left winger, which can be for Werner or Pulisic. But to be fair, Pulisic's not been that great either recently. In this season, he scored one goal, I think, against Leeds in the 90th minute when he came on. But he's just not showed anything from his Project Restart form. And until he starts showing it in these cameo appearances off the bench, it's not going to get better for him. But players that do need to come on to improve our creativity are Kai Havertz, essentially. And to be fair, that's one thing we haven't talked about much is Tammy Abraham and how, I mean, he didn't even feature on the bench today, and yet 3 fullbacks did. So it's just, it's a bit annoying when Giroud kind of has an amazing performance or 3, and then he'll put in a performance like yesterday where he just didn't play that well. Whereas, I mean, it would have been nicer to kind of sub him off for Tammy to give us a bit more pace, because we had a couple of times where we were on the counter attack, and Tammy's quite good when we counter normally. He's not slow, and he's kind of just plays the right pass a lot of the time. So would have been nice to see Tammy on as well as Havertz, but didn't really happen.
Is that a sign from Tuchel saying maybe Tammy needs to do more? Maybe it's time Tammy finds another club. We're hearing it's still the start of March, but we're hearing rumors about West Ham being interested. We're hearing rumors about Everton being interested in Tammy Abraham and us buying Haaland in the summer. Amart, a lot of fans are saying if Tammy wants to go, he can go, but if he's a true Chelsea player, then he'll want to stay and fight like Mason Mount did, even though we signed the likes of Ziyech and Kai Havertz and all of these midfielders, and we've got so many midfielders he managed to stay in and perform at his best, and now he's almost an uncontested player in the team.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny when I hear stuff like that. When people say that if it's a true Chelsea player, he'll stay. But when he was doing well and all that, people wanted him to be on the bench. They didn't really like the academy players doing well, and they wanted people to come in to replace them. But now they are kind of like putting the onus on him for him to stay and all that. But for me, the thing is that if he leaves, I will understand it 100% because he's very good. Like we always say that. I mean, most fans say that he's not good enough to be a Chelsea player, or he's not good enough to lead us to the Premier League title, which is true. I mean, the second part is true. I don't think he's a bad Chelsea player. He's a very good Chelsea player, one of our best academic projects. But the thing is, we need players who have that kind of like aggressive goal scoring ability. Tammy can be that kind of player. He has shown it so many times. But the thing is that the inconsistency is the issue. If he can keep it up and be scoring in every game like he did in the first half of last season, like there will be no issue around the fact that people want Haaland to come in and Lukaku to come in and all that. I feel like with Tammy, if the system works very well with the players around him, we should be able to like win the Premier League with with this current players that we have. If everybody is doing well in their positions, Havertz, Ziyech, Werner, all of them doing well in their position, there will be no need for us to get rid of Tammy and bring anybody else. But because they are not doing well, so it looks like the issue falls with him because he has been taxed to score the goals, and he has been there for I think this is the second season now. So people want to see more from him. But for me, he's 23 years. If he wants to go, I'll understand it completely because he deserves better than what he's getting now. Because some fans are not appreciating what he has done for Chelsea. There have been some games that he has helped us turn things around, but there are some fans. I don't know whether they have short term memories or what, but I don't know. They don't see him. They've given. I love Werner as well, but if you are giving Werner all these chances, like you're giving Werner all these kind of supports, even though we know the kind of player Werner is, we've seen his CVs in other at Leipzig, and we've seen the number of goals that he can score if he gets in good form. But right now he's not scoring. He's not doing anything. Um, 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 he's not scoring. He was brought in to score and he's not scoring. But we are still giving him the benefit of the doubt. We're still giving him the space to kind of like grow in Chelsea and become good. We should also give Tammy that same space, but he's not getting it. So for me, if I was in Tammy's shoes, I'll be considering leaving, especially with Haaland coming and probably Giroud staying a game for another season. I'll consider leaving because I see him as a kind of player that would excel, especially at Everton or I don't know about West Ham, but I think with Everton he can do very very well. I think if he leaves, we can see him going on the route of Lukaku, Salah, those players that left Chelsea and became very, very good. I think I think he's one of those players. When he was at Aston Villa, he went on loan to Aston Villa. He was excellent. I think he was their top scorer that season. He was excellent in the Championship, where they played more games. And I think the Championship is even, for me, I watched some Championship games, I think 2 years or a year ago, and I feel like it's even more aggressive than the Premier League. I don't know why. I just feel like it's more aggressive and they play long and they play more games than the Premier League. It's very tough there, but he succeeded there. He did very well there, but in the league, it hasn't really worked out for him that much. But yeah, I just hope we give him another chance. I don't want him to leave. I just hope we give him another chance. Even if Haaland comes in, I hope Tammy will be kind of like the second striker. If Haaland is starting with Werner, Tammy should be that second replacement striker. So I just wish he stays. But if he doesn't, too, I'll understand it 100%.
Yeah, I think it's not ideal for someone the age of Tammy Abraham to be third choice striker or even be competing against the likes of Giroud, who's almost at the end of his career. So I don't think it would hurt anybody if he leaves and Haaland signs, but I don't think it's going to happen because Haaland has a lot of competition with Manchester City, and I think they might get away with it if they win the Premier League and they have a squad that is eligible to compete and become favourites in the next year's Champions League. And I think even this year they're pretty much the favourites, other than Bayern Munich. So, anything you guys want to add on for the Man United debate, Haaland and Chelsea debate, or should we move on to Liverpool?
I'd say if we didn't have N'Golo Kante, we probably would have lost. I think. He saved us
the
a
final play.
Yeah, pretty much the final play as well, but throughout the game as well. On the ball, I thought I was a bit frustrated at times because he misplaced a couple of passes in our own third, which kind of, but it didn't really come. Man United didn't exploit that or anything, so it was all right. But off the ball and in terms of winning the ball back, he was just absolutely outstanding. It was like classic N'Golo Kante essentially today or yesterday. So yeah, no qualms with him, and absolutely needs to be starting against Liverpool for sure.
Yeah, I think it was criminal that they gave Shaw the man of the match instead of Kante, because I think Kante was miles ahead of Shaw. Shaw did very well in the game as well, defending for Manchester United, but I think Kante did a way better job. Like he was almost. I saw a heat map of his performance after the game, and it covered the whole pitch. Like he was everywhere, and he worked so well with Kovacic. Kovacic is also. I'll also give him a shout out because he had a very good game also as well. I think the second half, most of our Chelsea players, the first half, they really didn't do that well. I think it was only the defensive line plus the keeper that did very well in the first half. I think throughout the game, but the second half is where most of the players came to life. I don't know whether because Chilwell was better in the second half. Ziyech was better. Kante was better. He. I think he was misplacing the passes in the first half, coupled with other Chelsea players as well. But the second half, I think we're much more solid. The passes were better, and then we did very, very well in the second half. And I don't know, I feel like Kovacic's ability to come out of tight spots is very, very underrated because usually you can see players around him and you feel like this guy is going to lose the ball, but he manages to wriggle his way out of it and dribble his way out of it and come out of it. If he could only shoot, if he only knew how to shoot, like this guy will be a complete player because he finds himself in very, very good shooting opportunities, like shooting positions where he can take shots. And sometimes I see him in those positions and I'm like, why isn't Mount there? Why isn't Ziyech there? Why aren't players that can take shots there? But it's rather Kovacic. But I don't know. He really needs to work on his shooting game. If he can do well with shooting, I think he will have a very, very excellent player on our hands. He's already a good player, but if he can add goal scoring to his game, I mean, he'll be instantly world class.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And yeah, N'Golo Kante, great player. And as the fans like to say, the earth is covered with 30% of water, the rest is all Kante. Something like that.
Yeah.
I think that sums up the review for Man United. Chelsea 0, Man United 0. Chelsea stay 5th in the league, if I'm not wrong. And I would guess that's 5 points or 4 points behind. No, just 1 point behind West Ham United, 5 points behind Leicester City at number 3, and quite a long way off number 1. So I don't think my prediction of Chelsea becoming champions is coming true anytime soon, or at least this season. That's all for the preview. And before we move on to the review of Liverpool, I'll just request everyone who's still watching, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, rating, and comment below what you thought of that performance against Man United and what could be improved as well for the next games ahead by Chelsea. Okay, and Liverpool. How are we feeling about that, Amart? Let me just pull up the record that they've got at the moment. They have 1 win in the last 5 games, 6th in the table, 1 point behind us. So essentially, whoever wins gets bragging rights for until the next season.
Yeah, I mean, it's considering their recent forms, it's on paper we should be winning that game, but again, with Liverpool, usually you don't know what to get from them this season, especially since they nobody expected them to drop points as much points as they've dropped so far. Nobody expected them to be in the position that they are in now, but they are there, and I don't know, they've had some injury problems, but I don't really think it's a matter of injury. That's probably it's part of it. Yeah, I would say it's part of it. But I think most of the players are also fatigued. Most of them are tired because they've been constantly like the same 11. It's been pretty much the same 11 for like 3 seasons. So it's I think 4 seasons is even. So it's definitely going to catch up with them, and their injuries too haven't helped. But they played very well in their last game. I watched a little bit of the highlights, and they did very well. But still, they still had a problem with their attacking three: Firmino, Mane, and Salah. They had a problem with their attacking three. So I don't know. We should get the win against them. We should be getting the win against them. But it will be very difficult. It's very difficult to determine whether we are going to win or not. I just hope. And I was also worried a bit because when Chilwell started, I was thinking that when Chohan and Kante started, I was thinking that is it because he wants to rest Alonso and Jorginho for the Liverpool game, or he might use Chilwell and Kante again for the Liverpool game. I'm hoping that he uses Kante. But Chilwell and Alonso, I don't know, because I'll prefer him playing Chilwell, but I don't think Alonso will be will be a bad option to go with. But with Kante and Jorginho, I'll take Kante all day, especially with the way he pocketed Bruno Fernandes in the Man United game. So I really hope he goes with Kante. So yeah, I think if I see Kante in a certain lineup, I'll be more confident in the game. But for now, I really can't tell what will happen in that game. I hope we win because we have to win to get a point.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe Salah or Mane could be in Kante's pocket by the end of the game. Alex, your thoughts on Liverpool and our chances of winning or even drawing?
I mean,
this point?
it is big. It is a huge game. I would go as far to say we really can't afford to lose. I'd be okay-ish. I wouldn't feel great about a draw, but I wouldn't be upset about it. But we can't afford to lose this game, even a draw. I mean, if Everton play before us on Thursday, and if they win, they're going to go ahead of us. So we'll go down to 6th. Spurs look like, I mean, it was only one win against a pretty poor Burnley team, but if they're getting their act together as well, they're going to be back in the conversation. But they are quite a few points below us. So I think they're 5 points below us. But yeah, a win would be huge, and not just for the table, but just to say that are we actually going to try and kick on and try and fight for 4th and 3rd? Because I don't see West Ham really letting up or stopping their charge. They've just been incredible for all season pretty much, and yeah, so a win would be fantastic because we'd go 4 points clear of Liverpool, and we'd get closer to West Ham and Leicester City, who I think West Ham play Leeds this game week, and Leicester play Burnley, so they're probably going to win both their games. So we really do have to win this, or at least draw. But even if we do draw, top 4 is still going to start to look quite unlikely. And I know it's like, we can't say it's Liverpool is a must win, but Liverpool are below us in the table. They're in really poor form other than their last game, and they've lost the past 5 games at Anfield. So are we going to be Charity FC? Are we going to continue to kind of revitalize essentially every other team that we play against? I mean, like a Southampton, in their past 27, so past the 9 games, they've lost all of them except for 1 draw. Guess who the drawer is against? Us. So it's just, we're a very Charity FC at the moment, and it would be really nice to go to Anfield in the Premier League at least and win. I can't remember the last time we went to Anfield and in the league and won. Probably the Denver, but probably it was I think 2013-14. I think it's been a while, but we need to go there and we need to perform at least. And I'll be okay with a draw, but we really need to get the win, I think, for top 4 hopes. Sorry.
This would be the perfect time for me to say Alex has mentioned Chelsea losing, and we don't associate with that. So if you want to come after Alex after this podcast, go for it. CFC Talk is not responsible. He said this last time before the Bayern game, where he said something along the same lines.
Oh no. We just can't afford to lose. We can't afford to lose.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just like Liverpool. Yeah, they're normally up there, but now it's like, the way I see it, to get top 4, like, we really need to win the game. Even a draw, if we draw and West Ham and Leicester win, then we'll be 4 points off of top 4. So yeah, I do see it as a must win to get top 4. Really.
Yep, 100% agreed. Team predictions: Mendy in goal, I guess, and then back 3 guys. Would it be? I think Silva does seem like he will be back for this game, but I don't see him starting. So would you want to go with Rudiger, Christensen, and Aspi then?
Yeah.
If Silva starts, then I think Silva will replace Christensen. But but for now, the same defensive line.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
I don't think. Sorry, go ahead.
Go on. No, go on. No,
I was just going to say, I don't think Christensen's going to be left out. If you've got 100% tackling, passing, defending record in a game, I don't think you're going to get dropped because one of our senior players is back. I do see Christensen maybe getting a start ahead of Aspi or either Rudiger, but I think if Silva does start, then Christensen does have to start as well with him. Maybe he won't have the best of performances, but I would still give him the opportunity, and he might even prove himself.
Yeah. All I remember, sorry to interrupt, all I remember is Christensen in the home game putting in a disaster class and getting sent off at half time.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, if Thiago Silva is available, then I would definitely start Thiago Silva.
Yeah.
But it's like Christensen's been playing well, so it's a tough one. I'd like to see Thiago Silva in the team if he can play, preferably at right centre back or left centre back if he can. But otherwise, if it has to be done, it has to be done. We play Thiago Silva for these games. We have Thiago Silva in our squad to play these games, regardless of the temporary form of some players. And it is a huge game, a really, really important game to get top four. So I would play Thiago Silva if he's available, but I think it'll probably be Christensen, and we can be happy about that because Christensen's been on good form.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, midfield, Kante and Kovacic then?
Yeah. For me, definitely Kante and Kovacic. I think they are better suited playing against Liverpool that can worry us on the counter attack, and they can press us a lot. And they will definitely press us a lot because they even need the points more than we do. We want to enter top four, and they also want to enter top four and also then possibly maintain a positive image to their fans. So yeah, definitely playing Kante and Kovacic. But I have a feeling he might go with Jorginho, but I don't know. But for me, I'll go with Kante.
And then Alex.
Yeah, I would go with Kante and Kovacic. But I have a feeling that I'm still happy with Jorginho plays. I don't think he's been too bad. Against Atletico, he had a shaky first half, but played better in the second. But Kante absolutely has to play. He's just been fantastic in the past couple of games he's played. And Kovacic, yeah, we'll need Kovacic to break Liverpool's pressing lines. Essentially, they're going to press us high. So yeah, we need Kovacic to play. So yeah, I think the Kante and Kovacic makes the most sense, but you never know. Jorginho kind of always finds a way. He's inevitable. He finds a way sometimes how to get into the team. So it'll be a surprise. But I'll go Kante, Kovacic.
Okay. Front three. Are we going with Mount, Werner, and I'll go with Kai Havertz as well. So those three for me.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, but it depends on the way he goes. Will he play with two strikers and then Mount behind them, or you play with the one striker with Mount and Havertz behind? That's the thing. But
I think with Mount and Kai
behind them, yeah, I think that will also be good. But recently, I've been seeing a lot of articles floating around. Even I think there was one on the Athletic about considering Havertz as a number 9 because he played there for Leverkusen for some time and he did very, very well. So a lot of people are saying that if we can try that and see how good it will be, I wouldn't mind seeing that against Liverpool. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Probably might be too big of a game to start playing that particular style, but I think it would take Liverpool by surprise because it's something that we've not done before. So if he goes with Werner and Havertz up top, that might work, but I don't know. So yeah, I'll go with you guys and play Werner up top and then Havertz and Mount behind him. But what do you guys think about him or about Havertz? I'm just curious. What do you guys think about Havertz playing as a striker with Werner?
I think what I see happening is Mason Mount and Kai Havertz behind Timo Werner, but I think Werner and Kai will play as false 9 and 10, and that's the best place to go with because I think Kai Havertz has that creativity, Werner has that pace, and hopefully that finishing that he can bring from Leipzig. And if that works wonders, then we can continue with that. I think there's a big potential in that area for Kai and Timo together.
Yeah, that's true. Have we talked about the wing back?
Oh,
No.
did I miss that again? Okay.
Yeah.
Wing backs. I think Callum Hudson-Odoi, if he's not injured, and then Chilwell, or I feel like Alonso might get the nod ahead of Chilwell. What do you think, Amart?
Yeah, same. I think Alonso gets. I'm very as for that one. I think he might start ahead of Chilwell, Alonso. But with Reece and Callum, I think Reece. I'll prefer if Reece started and then Callum came in from the bench, because I don't know Callum. I don't know whether it's for me. I see Callum's performances as okay. They've not been that bad, but it looks like he hasn't really. And I think in the last two games, especially, he hasn't really impressed um, Tuchel that much. So probably Tuchel might drop him and use Reece. But I wouldn't mind seeing him play. But for me, I'll go with Reece, and then for me, I would prefer Chilwell, but I think Alonso will start. So Alonso and Reece.
Alex, what about you?
I would go. Oh, it's tough. I can't. I don't really want to imagine Callum Hudson-Odoi defending against, not Salah, Mane. So, but then James hasn't played that well when he's come up against Mane either. So, it's tough. I would go Hudson-Odoi purely for being a little more offensive, and yeah, I think back five were already quite a defensive team, so a bit more pace in the side. Put Hudson-Odoi on the right, and then for left I would go Chilwell. But I really really hope that Tuchel goes with Chilwell, because I thought he was good. I thought Chilwell was quietly solid against United.
He was.
He was like, I mean, towards the latter days of Lampard's tenure, he didn't really play that well. Especially like in 2021, I cannot remember any time he put in a good performance until yesterday. So I think he's kind of over. I think I saw some articles saying about how he admitted that he had lost his form and he's just been working on it, and he really looked really confident against United, and I would play him. I'd be more than happy to play him against Liverpool.
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut this discussion short, but I do have to leave. I'm really sorry about this. I think that covers up most of the review. If there's anything missing out, we'll be sure to share on our social media pages. If you want to look at our separate lineups, that'll be on our social media pages. So make sure to leave a like rating, subscribe, comment below what you think of our preview and our review, and share it with your friends. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year or the season, hopefully, and make this project into a bigger project. So we'd be needing your guys' support. So thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.